You've probably killed an ant in your kitchen and felt pretty good about it. Problem solved, one ant down. But here's the thing, you didn't solve anything, you made it worse. That ant you squished, it just sent a chemical alarm to every ant within range that says, danger here, send more scouts. You didn't kill the problem, you advertised it, so why do ants walk in that perfect, maddening, single-file line? Why does the trail appear out of nowhere? Is there a leader? A plan? A tiny ant general giving orders somewhere. And what happens when you wipe the trail with your finger? The answer involves invisible ink, a math problem that stumped computer scientists and a system so smart that Amazon and Google have both tried to copy it. Here's what's actually going on. You spot one ant on your counter, then 5. Then what looks like a highway with rush hour traffic stretching from your fruit bowl to a crack in the baseboard. It feels organized. It feels deliberate. It looks like someone is in charge, but that line isn't discipline, it's not training. It's a chemical GPS system laid directly onto whatever surface the ants are walking across, and it runs entirely without a brain giving orders. Here's the misconception almost everyone carries. There's a leader, a smart ant at the front, a plan that somebody made. We see a perfectly organized line and our brains immediately go looking for the boss. That's just how humans think. We see order and assume someone created it, but no ant is in charge. Not the queen, she's deep in the nest laying eggs, not managing logistics. Not the first ant, not the biggest ant, nobody. The whole colony operates with zero top-down control, and that's exactly what makes it so strange. Because the first ant that walked that trail, it had absolutely no idea where it was going. It was wandering, randomly, like someone who lost their keys in a dark house and is just checking everywhere. But here's where it gets crazy. That random wandering is actually the whole point. When that first ant stumbles onto a food source, your dropped cracker, your open sugar jar, something clicks. On the walk back to the nest, it starts releasing chemicals called pheromones from tiny glands in its abdomen. Think of it like an invisible marker being dragged across the floor with every single step. The ant can't see the trail, but every ant behind it can smell it. Ant number 2 picks up the scent and follows it, laying its own chemical layer on top. Ant number 10 does the same. By ant number 100, that faint accidental line has become something like a 6-lane highway with a scent so strong the ants can follow it in almost complete darkness. What started as a confused animal stumbling around became a precision route, and no one planned it. Now here's the part that should genuinely stop you for a second. Shorter paths get reinforced faster. An ant that takes a shorter route back to the nest finishes the round trip quicker, which means it lays more pheromones per hour on that path than an ant taking a longer detour. More pheromones means more ants follow the short route. More ants means even more pheromones. The long route fades. The short route wins. The colony just solved the shortest path problem, the exact same math that powers Google Maps and GPS routing, without a single ant understanding what it was doing. Computer scientists didn't write a formal version of this algorithm until the 1990s. Ants have been running it for 100 million years. That's not a metaphor, that's just the gap. This is the part everyone misses. When you wipe the trail with your finger or spray it with cleaner, you feel like you've taken control. But what you actually did is break a signal that dozens of ants were actively depending on. They scatter, they circle, they double back. And here's the part that gets you. Stressed or crushed ants release alarm pheromones, a completely different chemical signal that reads, to the rest of the colony, like a distress call. It says something dangerous is happening here, investigate immediately. You didn't end the invasion. You sent a red alert. You recruited backup. Now here's the weird part. Not all ant lines are built the same way. The ants raiding your kitchen are scout ants or forager ants. They're small, mostly working alone at first, politely following a chemical breadcrumb trail to bring food back to a fixed nest. Manageable, predictable. But army ants are a completely different thing. Army ants have no permanent home. The colony moves constantly, sometimes in columns millions of ants wide, eating almost everything in their path. They don't follow a trail the way scout ants do. They are the trail. The moving mass of bodies is the colony, the route, and the destination all at once. Comparing a kitchen ant trail to an army ant swarm is like comparing a bicycle lane to a highway interchange. Same basic idea, completely different scale and danger level. And then there are termites, which people sometimes confuse with ants, but solve the same navigation problem in an entirely different way. Ants lay open-air chemical lines, flexible and erasable. Termites build enclosed mud tunnels, solid physical structures you cannot wipe away with a paper towel. One system is invisible software, the other is permanent hardware. Same problem, getting from the nest to the food and back, solved by completely opposite methods. Zoom out further, way further, about 130 million years, give or take. That's how long ants have been doing this. There are ants preserved in amber, fossilized tree sap from the age of dinosaurs, and scientists believe the chemical trail system was already in use by then. While T-Rex was wandering what is now North America, a tiny ant the size of a grain of rice was already laying down pheromone trails across the forest floor, solving routing problems with no brain bigger than a pinhead. One theory, supported by the fact that ants evolved from wasp-like ancestors, is that the chemical signaling behavior is even older than ants themselves, inherited and refined over hundreds of millions of years of small adjustments that nobody planned and no individual creature understood. The straight line on your kitchen counter is older than the Himalayas. That mountain range started forming around 50 million years ago. The ant trail system has been running for more than twice that long, but here's where it gets crazy. You've been surrounded by this logic your entire life and never connected it. That single ant on your bathroom sink at 7 a.m., that's a scout. It's already on its way back to tell the others. A dropped lollipop on a sidewalk will have a trail of ants on it within minutes, not because ants were watching, but because one wandering ant found it and the signal spread. The worn dirt paths cutting across grassy parks? Humans make those the same way ants do. Someone takes a shortcut, others follow, the path gets trampled, the shortcut becomes the route. No planning required. The algorithm called ant colony optimization, used in real computer networks today, was directly inspired by watching how ants solve the shortest path problem. It now helps route internet traffic, plan delivery schedules, and optimize warehouse logistics. Amazon's warehouse routing software draws on swarm intelligence research that started with ant behavior. GPS systems solve routing the same mathematical way ants do, just faster and with satellites. Video game designers use ant colony algorithms to make non-player characters navigate environments without getting stuck. Your own brain uses a version of the same trick. Repeated signals between neurons strengthen those connections, making the path easier to use next time. That's how habits form. That's how memories get stronger. Your neural pathways and an ant trail operate on the same core logic. Use it more, keep it, use it less, let it fade. The system isn't perfect though. Pheromones evaporate, rain washes them away, heat speeds up the fade. That means the colony has to keep relaying active trails constantly. The moment ants stop walking a path, the signal weakens and eventually disappears. And there's a darker failure mode. Sometimes the trail loops back on itself. When that happens, ants follow the circle, reinforcing it with more pheromones, pulling more ants in, and the whole group ends up spiraling endlessly in a loop with no exit. This is called an ant mill, and it's a real documented thing. Hundreds of thousands of ants marching in a perfect circle, each one following the ant in front of it, until many of them die of exhaustion. The same feature that makes the system brilliant and follow the strongest signal becomes a trap when the signal points nowhere. The smartest routing system in nature has one catastrophic bug, and the bug is a circle. Ants walk in a line because each one is reading and writing a message at the same time, building a road no single ant could design. There's no leader, there's no plan, there's only a signal, a response, and 130 million years of results. And the ant that started it all, it's already gone. It never knew it built a highway.